Okay, so good evening, guys. Our lesson for tonight is all about loss of the thing due and other forms of extinguishment. So in our last topic, we have already discussed payment as means of extinguishing obligations. For this time, we'll be talking about loss of the thing due and other forms of extinguishment. So at the end of the lesson, students are expected to understand the other means of extinguishing obligations aside from the most common one, which was discussed in the previous lesson. So the time frame for this one is 2 weeks, but I'll just try to explain the topics briefly in order for us to catch up with the remaining weeks for the first semester. So introduction, on top of the widely used payment performance in extinguishing obligations, there are also other ways wherein one is often beyond the control of men, such as the loss of the thing due, and others is based on further agreements of the parties, such as compensation and novation. So for the activity, research on the following topics. Again, you will need to submit your answers for this one to me by next week, Friday. So let's go immediately to the abstraction and the discussion. So first is loss of the thing due. So it has been discussed briefly in module 1 that a thing is lost when it perishes, goes out of commerce, or disappears in a manner that its existence is unknown or it cannot be recovered. As a matter of review, so a thing is considered lost when it perishes. So mawala siya in a manner na it will be destroyed, it will be it will be spoiled, it will be deteriorated to an extent that it will not be usable, or goes out of mark of commerce. So for an example of that will be things that are already phased out by the manufacturer, so we could no longer obtain such things. Disappears in a manner that its existence are unknown. So if a particular object disappears na wala ta kabalo kung napa ba siya or wala, or things that we know nga naa dira but unfortunately we cannot recover, we cannot retrieve. Take for example, a ring, sing-sing matagak sa say dagat when you ride a boat and for some reason natagak siya. We know that it's under the sea, however, it will be hard to recover or retrieve. So those are examples wherein a thing is considered to be lost. So when loss of the thing will extinguish an obligation to give. So in extinguishment of obligation, there are moments wherein the loss of the specific object will be tantamount to extinguishment of the obligation. So in that particular case, the obligation to give a particular phone, a particular object will be extinguished kasi nga wala na yung specific na object. So there are requisites for that scenario to be extinguished, for that obligation to be extinguished. Number one is that it will always involve specific object. Because if it is a generic object, considering that it's generic, we could find another replacement for it, then it will not be the case. So take note that it should be a specific object. So as to what is a specific object, please do review our previous lessons. So the loss was not caused by the debtor. So in this particular requisite, so the debtor is not liable. Wala siyang ginawang mali. There's no influence on his part that have caused the loss of the thing. So basically, limpyo ang iyang konsensya, wala siya sala, kumbaga. And at the same time, the debtor was not in delay. So in terms of delivery of the object, the debtor is not guilty of delay of delivery. By the way, this is supposedly 1, 2, and 3. So there are cases, however, when the loss of the specific thing, even without fault and delay, will not exempt the debtor from a liability. So generally speaking, when an object perishes or goes out of market in a manner na dili na siya ma-retrieve, dili na siya ma-recover without delay and fault of the debtor, there are, generally speaking, the obligation to deliver a thing is extinguished. Meaning, there's no obligation at all because the object is no longer available. However, there are instances wherein even if the object is lost without the fault of the debtor or even without the delay, these are the exemptions. Number one, when the law so provides. So if the law states so that even if this object will be lost, then regardless kung at fault or without delay ang debtor, then they will still be held liable. Later on, we'll be having examples. Number two, when the agreement of the parties so provide. So if there is an agreement na nag-ingon niya, okay, this is a specific object, pero bisan something like nagsabot sila ba, tapos nag-ingon sila dito ang bisag mawala ni ha, bisag madaot ni or bisan pag makawat ni, dapat bayaran yapon ko nimo or ana na ay statement ngayong ana sa ilahang sabutan. So even if that is a specific object, wala gitoyo sa debtor nga nawala, there's no delay, and it was not caused by the debtor, then sa ngalan that there is an agreement between the parties, then the debtor will still be liable. With the nature of the obligation requires assumption of risk. So take for example, if there is a delivery of an object into a risky place, so kabalo na daan si debtor nga risky, kabalo na po daan si creditor nga risky ang lugar, but then again, gidawat gihapon ni debtor ang obligation, then even if the object will be lost through fortuitous event, then he will still be held liable. Why? Because again, kabalo na siya nga risky, kabalo na siya nga there is a chance nga mawala, makawatan ka or ma-destroy ang object if you will be accepting this obligation. So he already knows the risk, but then again, gipugos gyapon niya, and so he will become liable. When the obligation to deliver specific thing arises from a crime. So of course, if the obligation arose from a crime, okay, there is a crime mahihimo, there is a krimen, and there is an obligation. For example, if a person stole a motorcycle, a specific object, tapos nadakpan siya, of course, kailangan niya ihatod balik, iuli ang motor. However, for some reason, katong iuli na untan niya, the motorcycle was destroyed, kinabanggaan pag pauli niya. So, even if mauna siya ang nahitabo, of course, dili na niya ma-deliver ang motor, no? Pero, sa ngalan nga, it resulted from, the obligation resulted from a crime, then the criminal there will still be held liable. So even if dili na niya ma-deliver ang motor, so he could be asked to pay for damages. Number 1 and 2 are quite simple. When the law and the agreement of the parties state so if mauna siya giingon sa balaod, if there is an agreement between the parties, then it will be, the debtor will still be liable. Be reminded, however, that the liability here is not to still deliver the specific thing, because ang premise again is that nawala na, the object was already destroyed. So the liability may be payment for damages or other expenses, still depending on what has been stated. Okay. Number 3 talks about the assumption of risk. For example, in the courier business, so I know you're familiar with JNT, LBC, JRS, Ninja Van. LBC usually asks for the value of the thing to be delivered. And depende sa value, declared value ng customer, mas dako pod ang bayaran. This amount will be taken into account when determining the final shipping price, or they will be taking the risk of carrying the parcel. If in an unfortunate turn of events, their delivery truck has been struck by lightning and burned all the parcels, the obligation to deliver will still be extinguished, but they will still be liable to pay the shipper an equivalent amount plus damages if there's any. So I'll explain it further. For example, I'll be shipping a phone. Okay, magpadala ko cellphone sa ka-buyer. Tapos, natingon ko dito nga, the value of this phone is 10,000 pesos. Of course, LBC will be taking into account that the value is 10,000 pesos, add it up sa akong bayaran ng shipping. Then, take for example, 500 pesos ang shipping. Okay. Now, here's the scenario. Na box na package na. It is about to be delivered to the buyer, and unfortunately, nabanggaan ang courier na supposed katong nagamotor on the way to the buyer, nabanggaan and damage na guba ang cellphone. Wala tuyo sa courier, wala tuyo sa driver. So unsa may mahitabo ato? Kinsa man ang mubayad sa cellphone, or at the same time si buyer ba bayaran ba gihapon niya bisag wa niya nadawat, or si seller ba ang lugi ato? The answer is LBC will be the one to be held liable because they assume risk. Gidawat nila ang trabaho nga mag-deliver sa maong parcel even if kabalo sila nga naay risk. Okay? So in that case, buyer will not be, of course, dili nato pabayaron si buyer kay wala may item ni abot. Dili pod pwedeng malugi lang si seller nga nagpadala siya item, wala pa siya nabayaran, so lugi siya. So LBC now will be the one to give refund sa seller. Since 10,000 man ang declared value, then that 10,000 will be given by LBC to the seller or katong nagpadala, assuming that everything will be according to things will go smoothly in terms of the processing. But as far as I know, that should be the case. So in number 4, the obligation arose from a crime. James and John robbed Peter's house, took his golden poodle statue amounting to 10 million. After 5 days of hiding, they were captured. So James and John here are the robbers. Of course, pag mga wata, that's a crime. And were proven guilty and imprisoned. So aside from kailangan nila mapriso because they have robbed Peter's house and stole the golden poodle, they also have to return the same poodle statue. So in that case, the statue has been lost. So if they are already about to deliver the poodle, unfortunately nawala or whatever reason, basta nawala. So question, kailangan ba to nila, of course, di na nila kaya i-deliver, but since the obligation to deliver arose from a crime, so kailangan nila bayaran. They will makulong na sila, and at the same time, they will be liable to pay at least 10 million because that's the value of the poodle plus the damages if applicable. Okay, so I hope that you have understood that well. If not, then feel free to make comments. Effect of loss of the generic thing. When a generic thing is lost, the debtor can still be compelled to deliver a thing of the same kind. So this is the difference between delivery of a specific object as compared to a generic thing, because a specific thing, the one we have discussed previous minutes ago, will be applied. However, if it is generic, then the debtor can still be compelled to deliver a thing of the same kind. The creditor, however, cannot demand an object of superior quality or that the debtor can deliver inferior quality. So it should be medium quality na tama-tama lang po, equivalent sa katong nawala. So Kiara promised to deliver 100 sacks of rice to Vina. While pending delivery, Kiara's warehouse got burned due to electric short circuits. So the 100 sacks of rice here can be considered generic because it's safe to assume that Kiara is a rice retailer. So daghan siyang sako sa bugas and that she could just replace the order to Vina. In this case, Kiara will still be liable since what has been promised are generic objects. The debtor may source out the rice from other suppliers to be delivered to Vina. So what we have discussed are, as of now, are completely damaged or completely lost object. So what will happen if it is just a partial loss? So it is under Article 1264. Partial loss happens when a portion of the thing is lost or destroyed or when it undergoes depreciation or deterioration. So kung katong ganina, it's the entirety of the object. If it is burned, ang pinatibukan jud is nasunog. If it is lost, the whole item or all of its parts and accessories have been lost. Or if it's damaged, everything is damaged. But this time, if it is a partial loss, it's just a fraction. It's just a part of it. So in case of partial loss, the court is given the discretion in case of disagreement to determine whether under the circumstance it is so important in relation to the whole. So there are instances manggod na even if partial loss lang siya, pero it affects the entirety of the performance of the object, then the court may, if there are any disagreements, the court will settle or decide if it is tantamount to complete loss. Like for example, if a motorcycle, of course, a motorcycle is used for riding, okay, taking a person from point A to point B. Kung madaot ang iyahang engine, which is just a part of the motorcycle, question, is it really a partial loss or a complete loss? So if I were to judge, if I were to decide, it is safe to consider that it is a complete loss because the engine is it's basically the heart of the motorcycle. Without the engine, di man siya moandar. So bisan pag gwapo ang ligid, gwapo ang tambutso, na kay tangke, nindot ang suga, nindot ang bangko, it will still not meet its purpose. So it might still be considered a complete loss. So example, S obliged himself to deliver a specific racehorse. So take note that it is a specific racehorse. The horse met an accident resulting to a permanent broken leg. So in this case, buhi pa ang kabayo. However, nabali ang iyang sa katiil. So considering that the object is a specific racehorse, it is used for racing, then the permanent broken leg, even if it's just a physical partial loss, may be considered to be a complete loss. Why? Because the purpose of racing it is no longer met. It's no longer met. So presumption of fault in case of loss of the thing, possession of the debtor. So there is, according to Article 1265, there is a presumption that the obligation to deliver also includes the obligation to take care of the thing pending delivery. So we have already discussed that one. If there is an object na kailangan nimo i-deliver, you are also obligated to take care of the same object sa wala pa nimo mahatod. And so, if nadaot na nga object nga dapat nimo i-deliver, there is a presumption na ikaw ang nakasala. Ikaw nga debtor ang hinungdan nga nung nadaot na siya. So if you do not want to be liable, you will be the one, the debtor will be the one to prove nga naningkamot siya nga mabantayan ang katong object. He exercised diligence of a good father in taking good care of that object. So he will be the one to prove nga wala siya sala. So that's it. So again, balik ko na ako. If the cell phone, I have a cell phone here na dapat na ako i-deliver kay Pedro. And before na ako i-deliver kay Pedro is nadaot ang cellphone, there is a presumption under Article 1265 nga ako ang hinungdan. Ako nga debtor ang hinungdan, ano nadaot siya. In order for me not to be liable, kay nadaot man siya in my possession, so kailangan ako magpakita ng evidence to prove nga wala ako nagpabaya in taking care of the cellphone. Para di ko mahimong liable. However, in the case of natural calamities, the presumption at fault does not, of course, if nadaot siya because of flood, lightning, earthquake, we don't have any control, then the presumption is not applicable. So just read the example. Effect of impossibility of performance. So, what if the obligation involves an impossible performance? So, this is already a personal obligation, not a real obligation, because it is performance, not delivery. So this refers to a case when, without the debtor's fault, the obligation becomes legally or physically impossible, which will also result in the extinction of the obligation. It must be noted that the impossibility must take place after the institution of the obligation. If it is already impossible from the beginning, the obligation is actually void. So an example of an obligation that is void from the very beginning is I promise to give an illegal drugs to you. Okay? The object is illegal drugs. We cannot have a contract or an obligation involving illicit or illegal objects. Therefore, that particular obligation is impossible from the very beginning and therefore void. So, dili ka pwede mo ingon, adto ka sa police nga, bayad naman ako na nga shabu. Anong dili man niya ihatod. So, that's a no-no. So, ang atong isgutan diri is impossibility about legal objects. So, kinds of impossibility in a purely personal obligations, when the personal qualification of the obligor involved, physical impossibilities takes place. For example, the obligor dies or becomes physically incapacitated to perform the obligation. So again, we are talking here of personal obligation. So A promised to sing sa kasal ni B. So the obligation there is a personal one because sis A dapat mukanta siya sa kasal ni B. It just so happened after nila nagsabot namatay si A. Of course, the obligation has become impossible. Alangan na magpabangono na to, pugso na to, mamubangon si A sa yahang lubnganan just to sing para sa kasal ni B. So in that case, the obligation, the personal obligation has become impossible and therefore extinguished. Okay? There are also instances wherein it is physically impossible, but it's physically possible but legally impossible. Okay? When the obligation cannot be performed because it is rendered impossible by provision of law. So for example, there is a child, tapos patrabaho na to. There's a child there, 15 years old, tapos patrabaho na to sa ato ang business. So in that case, even if physically possible siya, pwede man jud siya motabang, pwede man jud siya motrabaho because the person is able. However, considering minor man na siya, in that under the law, they cannot they cannot be forced to be laborers, and at the same time they could not enter into contracts. Then even if it is physically possible, the obligation is legally impossible, and therefore the obligation cannot be demanded. So the obligation is extinguished. Kervin obliged himself to draw a portrait for Lovely to be finished in 1 week. So there is an obligation to draw a portrait. That is a personal obligation. Then napod siya period na 1 week. Unfortunately, Kevin met an accident which led to his arms getting amputated. Gipotol. Okay? Ang kamot, aksidente. So the obligation here has become physically impossible, and therefore extinguished na siya. Wala tayong magagawa niyan kasi nga putol na yung kamay niya. We could not force him to draw a portrait already. Second example, Ellie agreed to appear as counsel of Carlos in a case. Subsequently, Ellie was appointed as judge in the regional trial court. So Ellie here is an attorney, tapos gikuha siya as defendant of Carlos. Unfortunately, Ellie, after their agreement, Ellie was appointed as judge of the regional trial court. So under the law, judges of RTCs are prohibited from private practice of law. Sa ngalan nga judge na siya, dili na siya pwede magdawat og kliyente nga i-defend niya sa korte, because again, huwis man siya. It will be a conflict of interest, huwis siya tapos i-defend niya ang isa ka client. And so, Ellie's obligation to Carlos has become legally impossible, which will extinguish the obligation. So there are also instances wherein dili man siya impossible pero difficult siya. Difficult, mahirap gawin. So that is under Article 1267. So what will happen? When a personal obligation has become so difficult as to be manifestly beyond the capacity of both parties, the court is authorized to release the obligor in part or in whole. So what will happen is, if it is very difficult already, then the court has the authority to either release the obligor or release the debtor in part or in whole. So for example, they agreed to construct a road near a mountain. So again, the obligation is to construct a road near a mountain. A typhoon caused an avalanche, making the construction dangerous to human lives, which was not foreseen or contemplated by the parties. So in this case, they may be released. Alangan na magpapugso nato si D to still construct the road, even if it might cause death on the part of D sa yung mga tao. So in this case, the obligation may be extinguished in part or in whole. They may be released in part or in whole from the obligation to continue with the construction. So, sige, di lang sa nato ipadayon, or di na lang nato na ipadayon. So, pwede na siya. Because again, has become difficult or performance. Question, pwede ba gihapon ta mag-construct? The answer is yes, but it will be difficult or very risky. So in that case, the court may decide to release the debtor in whole or in part. So even if the effect of fortuitous event or the obligation proceeds from criminal offenses. So we have already discussed this one ganina, na even if there is already an obligation to deliver a particular object arising from crime. Katong example na itong nang ikawat tong golden poodle. So even if ang golden poodle will be lost through a fortuitous event like fire, flood, or robbery or what, the debtor offender will still be liable, because again, the obligation to deliver or give arose from a crime. So dili siya pwede maingon, ay nawala naman to, wala naman ko pwede ihatod sa imo. Of course, wala na ihatod, but then again, pwede siya pabayaran. So you can just again read the example. And again, guys, I really encourage you to ask questions. Comment dito sa YouTube. I'll be uploading this one sa YouTube. And make comments if nakabalo mo or namin nabalaan, sabtanin nyo. Or also comments if there are things na nalibugan ninyo. At the same time, comments will also allow me to know kinsa ang nagtanaw sa video. Right of the creditor to proceed against third person. So 1269 talks about the right of the creditor to proceed against third persons. So when we talk of third persons, these are persons outside the debtor and the creditor. So the creditor is given the right to proceed against the third party responsible for the loss. So what will happen here is that, of course, the agreement or the obligation is between A and B. Tapos here comes C, nga maoy hinungdan nga nung nawala ang object, then si creditor karon pwede niya singlon si C because C was the one who caused the object to be destroyed. So Pedro is obliged to deliver 10 tons of pineapple to Juan. On the way to delivery, Jose and his gang of bandits stole the truck carrying the goods. Here, the obligation of Pedro is extinguished because on Pedro's part, considering na wala siya delay and at the same time, he took care of the objects, then wala siya sala. So the law, however, protects Juan by giving him the right to bring an action against Jose. So if napamatud-an and na-capture ni si Jose and napamatud-an na they were the one who stole the truck, then they will be held liable. So si Juan here is able to demand from Jose, the bandit, the recovery of the price of the goods plus damages. So articles covering loss of the thing due 1262 to 1269. Let us now proceed to condonation or remission of debt. So simply stated, when we talk of condonation or remission, it is a gratuitous abandonment by the creditor of his right against the debtor and thus form a donation. So here, what happens is that the debtor has been released from his obligation out of the generosity of the creditor. So if, for example, A is to deliver a specific object to B, so ningon si B nga, sige, bay, ayaw na lang na ihatod bay, kanang regalo na lang na ako na sa imo or pinaskuhan na lang na ako na sa imo. So in that instance, merong condonation na nangyari or remission of debt. So the requisites are the following. It must be gratuitous. When you talk about gratuitous, it is out of the generosity. So no strings attached, walay bayaran, walay dapat buhaton, just gratuitous. It must be accepted by the obligor. Of course, even if it is favorable to the obligor, pero moingon siya nga, ay dili pwede bay kanang kailangan din ako na ihatod sa imuha kay nabayaran na ba ni mo ni or something like that, or nakasaad na ba kung ako aning ihatod. So if it's not accepted by the debtor, then there's no condonation na mangyayari. The parties must have the capacity. It should be that the debtor will be the one to accept and the creditor to offer, and both of them should have the capacity to make such decision. It is not made in officios, and if made expressly, it must comply with the forms of donation. So we'll go through one by one. So when we talk of gratuitous abandonment, it is the unconditional withdrawal of the creditor. Again, gihatag niya, nag-decide siya nga, sige, ayaw na lang na ihatod sa kuha. He withdrew from his right to receive an item or to get payment from the debtor. So basically, it's a donation. Example, A borrowed 5,000 to B. So since nag-borrow man si A, kailangan niya bayaran sunod ng 5,000. So B, out of his generosity, condone the debt. Yung siya nga, sige, ay na lang kung bayari bay. So what happened there is a condemnation, wherein it's unconditional and out of the generosity. So there are instances wherein it's complete. If going back to the 5,000, the entire 5,000 is condoned. There are also instances wherein it is just partial. Di ba ba 5,000 man to kung imong utang sa kuha, bayarin na lang kog 2,000, imuha na tong 3,000, something like that. So that's partial. As to its form, it can be expressed or implied. When we talk express, giingon jud or gisulat. It is communicated verbally or in writing. So balik ta sa 5,000, gisulat jud nako nga I condone or musugot ko nga 2,000 na lang ang ibayad ni A sa kuha sa ihang utang nga 5,000. Ihatag na nako sa iyang 3. So that's in writing. Pwede po siya moingon. Gingon lang to nila, wato nila gisulat. That will still be valid. So when we talk of implied, it's quite complicated and medyo dili klaro. Pero it is like this. Nakayutang nga 5,000 tapos mobayad na unta ka pero wala dawatan ni creditor. So what will you think? Bay, mobayad ako sa utang na ng 5,000. Ayaw na lang nabayari. Wala siya naingon din ayaw na lang bayar pero wala niya dawata. Marabag ka nang gibutang niya ang 5,000 dira, bayad unta siya. Wala gikuha ng creditor. Instead niya wala na ganin niya gikuha. Iya pa yung gibalik without saying anything. Okay? So in that particular instance, we can assume that it has been condoned impliedly, which it can only be inferred from the conduct. So though wala niya giingon, wala niya gisulat, but it is reflected by sa iyang actions. So just read these examples. As to its date of effectivity. So when will the condonation be effective? So inter vivos, when it will take effect during the lifetime of the donor. So if the condonation will take effect, mabuhi pa ang creditor, that's inter vivos, mortis causa if it's upon the death. So it must also comply with the formalities of the will. So if it is mortis causa, tapos nakasulat sa iyang will nga, ay katong utang ni Jose, di na nako to paninglan, iyahan na lang tong 20,000. So it is stated expressly in writing sa will sa creditor, then that's as to effectivity, that is a mortis causa condonation. If it is done within the lifetime, buhay pa siya, inter vivos. So effect of beneficious remission. So while a person may make donation, no one can give more than that which he can give by will. Otherwise, the excess shall be beneficious and shall be reduced by court accordingly. So what will happen here is that you cannot condone. Dili ka pwede mo ingon nga, sige, akuan na lang, sige, ayaw na lang to bayari. Tapos, duha day mo nga giutangan sa katong nga debtor. So you cannot say, example, 10,000 ang giutang, 5,000 sa imo, 5,000 sa imong friend. So dili ka pwede mo ingon nga, ay na lang mig bayari sa 10,000. You cannot say that. So it will just be up to the 5,000 because the 5,000 is the amount nga nakikatungod. The 5,000 is imong friend. So you cannot say that, sige, i-condone na mo ang 10,000 pesos. That's wrong. So that is inofficious. What has been condoned is only the amount that you have a right over, meaning that 5,000 lang. Okay? So presumption in case of voluntary delivery of the document of indebtedness to the creditor. So mostly, ang utang nato is present or can be found in contracts of loan or promissory notes. So in Article 1271 is that if gihatod sa creditor ang contract of loan or ang promissory note, Siyempre, naaman ni kay creditor, kay mao man niyang ipirmahan ni debtor nga bayaran niya si creditor. So, if gihatod voluntarily ni creditor ang maong document kay debtor, there is a presumption, okay, there is an assumption niya, ano man tong gihatod man to niya. Wala na noon siya habol sa maglisod na noon siya maglisod na noon siya paningil sa kuha or maglisod na siya paningil sa kuha kay yan na maghihatag sa kuha ang promissory note. So in that case, there is a presumption niya i-condone na ang debt. So if the debt is not yet paid, the creditor would need the document to enforce payment. So that's the normal way of doing things. Di ka mo bayad ha. Narawa ang promissory note ni mong gipirmahan. Nakabutang dira nga karong adlaw mo bayad ka. So na dito sa document. If the creditor voluntarily delivered the same document, so wala na siya ikapakita sa barangay. So what can we assume from that? He is renouncing his right over the credit. So mo na siya to ang i-assume. Renouncing his right over the credit. Pero kung kay evidence nga matud-an nga mag-ingon nga, uy wala man ako nagihatod or iha man ang gikawat na diri sa CCTV or na ako'y silingan nag-ingon nga gilungkab niya kung balay. So if you could present evidence such as those para pamatud-an nga wala nimo na voluntarily hatag sa debtor, then you might still be able to enforce payment. So extent of remission, if the obligation is joint, the presumption of remission pertains only to the share of the debtor who is in possession of the document. If solidary, to the total obligation. So if it is joint, the presumption of the remission pertains only to the share. So again, if going back sa akong example ganina katong 10,000 tapos duha mo nga giutangan, you cannot condone the entirety of the 10,000. Only that portion pertaining to your to the loan sa imo ha. So this is the example here. So presumption applicable only to private document. That's Article 1271. Speaks of a private document. So the legal presumption of remission does not apply in the case of public document because it is easy to obtain a copy of the same, being a public record. So when we talk of a private document, like for example, a promissory note. So kung may tag promissory note, it should be a private document. Dapat wala to siya panotaryuhan because the moment nga imong panotaryuhan ang isa ka document, it becomes a public document already. And sa ngalan niya public document na siya, it is easy to obtain a copy of that. So kung naay gihatod na promissory note or contract of loan sa debtor, we will be assuming that it will just be only applicable to private documents. If it is notarized, then there's no effect at all. So presumption in case document found in possession of the debtor. So there is also a presumption wherein si debtor na utang na siya promissory note nga gihatag kay creditor, but it just so happen nga katong nga promissory note is naa na sa debtor. Di ba naman kay utang kay kuan kay sa imong silingan? Nanalagi diri sa imong atong promissory note nga imong gipirmahan. So there is an assumption. Unsa ang assumption? The assumption is saan to? The presumption of voluntary delivery in turn gives rise to the presumption of remission. So it is assumed nga voluntarily gihatod to sa creditor. So since voluntarily gihatod man, then it is safe to assume also that the obligation has been condoned already. It is believed, however, that the presumption of voluntary delivery should give rise to the presumption of payment, and only when it is known that indeed there is no payment should there be a presumption of remission. Okay? So, duha magud na siya kay kung nakabayad na ka, siyempre ibalik sa imuha ang document. So, if wala ka kabayad, nya nasa imuha ang promissory note, so there is an assumption nga okay, gi-condone na siguro ang iyahang obligation. Example, D owes C 1,000 pesos, evidenced by promissory note. The note signed by D is given to C. Of course, si C, medyo makipa na, no? Kay kasog maningil siya, na siya pwede isagpa nga document kay D, nga nung di siya mabayad. If the note is voluntarily delivered to D, the presumption is that the debt must have been paid. So ano man gihatod naman niyang promissory note? Probably, gibayaran na. If it is known that D has not yet paid, so if kabalo ang mga tao nga wala na siya nagbayad, pero nganong naa naman sa iyahang promissory note, it is presumed that the obligation has been remitted. Okay? So again, if the note is voluntarily delivered to D, gibalik ang promissory note, the first presumption is that gibayaran na. Kay giuli naman ang promissory note. Pero kung kabalo ta nga wala pa gibayaran pero naa na ang promissory note, so the second presumption is that the obligation has been remitted. So tiway na lang to, gihatag na lang siya kay creditor. Suppose it is known that how D came into possession of promissory note, the presumption is that it was voluntarily delivered by C, unless C proves the contrary. So we now go to confusion or merger of rights. Simply stated, it is found in Article 1275. It is the meeting in one person of the qualities of creditor and debtor with respect to the same obligation. So this is quite complicated and kaikon ta sayang kauwi ba ni. Okay? So just bear with me because it is included in the topics that we need to discuss. Personally, tagsa lang kayo ni siya mahitabo, but if ever mahitabo, at least kabalo ta. So that's the term confusion or the merger of rights. So okay, let's go direct to the requisites. It must take place between the principal debt and the creditor. Okay, it should be the principal debt and the creditor, and it must be complete. It must be a complete confusion or merger. Okay, here's the example. Okay, bear with me. Minota guys. Just follow me on this one. So Jana owes Fred 10,000 pesos. Okay? Si Jana, debtor, Fred, creditor. How much? 10,000 pesos. Evidenced by a promissory note in favor of Fred. Okay? Okay lang? Thumbs up? Okay? The note was endorsed to Janet, who in turn also endorsed it to Grace. Okay, now here's the exciting part about it. Be reminded that the promissory note is a document that evidences credit, okay, or debt. It evidences nga si Jana nang utang kay Fred na nito gipirmahan. Asa karon, firstly asa originally gihatag ang promissory note? Yes, na kay Fred. Karon si Fred na probably na siya gipalit kay Janet pero wala siya kwarta. Ang yang gibayad is ang katong promissory note. Janet kanang papalitan na lang kog bali 8,000 nga bugas. Pero wala ko'y kwarta karon, pero na ko'y promissory note kay Jana. So, imo na ning promissory note, ikaw na lay singil kay Jana. Imo na lang pud tong 2,000 nga sobra. Kay 8,000 lang man nga bali 8,000 lang man nga bugas akong kailangan. Okay? Okay lang. Follow? Okay, padayon ta. Now, Janet, kinangailangan siya kwarta. Kailangan siya kwarta karon, iyan na pong gi-endorse kay Grace. Ato siya kay Grace. Grace kanang manghulam ta ko kwarta ba? Anya kaning promissory note ni Jana ang ako ang ibayad sa imuha. 7,000 lang akong kailangan. Pero ang amount ano is 10,000. Okay? Sugot ra po si Grace. Okay, nara ang 7,000, nadawat na ni Grace ang promissory note. Okay, now, okay na kay Grace. Now, Grace went to Jana's store and bought goods handing over the same promissory note. So, dato karon si Grace sa tindahan ni Jana. Kaya nakinomdom siya nga, uy, tama din, no? Naman dahil ko ikolektahon nun kay Jana. Because naaman sa iyang promissory note. Ato sa karon kay Jana, palit siya bali 10,000. Tapos, instead nga mahatag siya kwarta, is katong promissory note niya ang ihatag ni Grace. Okay. Well, and for some reason, gidawat ra po ni Jana. Okay? Gidawat ni Jana ang promissory note. So karon, I hope mga nasabayan ninyo, no? Here, Jana, who is the original debtor, received his own promissory note from Grace. The rights of the debtor in this obligation has been merged with the rights of the creditor in the same person. So kinsa gani ang naiutang si Jana, tama? Okay. Evidenced by a promissory note, 10,000 pesos. Since karon naa naman ang promissory note kay Jana, it is as if nangutang si Jana sa iyahang kaugalingon. So inganang murang nahitabo. So the right of the creditor and the obligation of the debtor has been merged into one person in the person of Jana. And therefore, if that instance, if that scenario will happen sa imuha, then confusion and merger, confusion or merger will take place and extinguish the obligation. Okay? But I have also noted here that it is unlikely. Sobrang labong mangyari yan. Ako'y barkada gani nga mangutang daw ang iyang friend. Tapos instead niya ang iyang friend ang mobayad sa dili na maglibog panganlan na to. Si A naiutang kay B. Okay? Kaya si B karon mangutang sa kay C. Pero ang iyang condition is by istorya si B kay C. By mangutang ko sa imo ha nya si A lang singla mura na. Wala siya nisugot oy. Di ba? Wala siya nisugot because siya na noy naglisod gani si B og paningil kay A. Nya si C na noon nya dili murag third party sa ilahang obligation. Siya na noon ang maningil. So that's a no. Again, kaya medyo natatawa ako dito sa confusion and merger of rights. Though it is in the law and dili man siya stupid. Okay, it makes sense naman, but it's really unlikely. So the articles covering confusion is 1275 to 1277. So lastly, last na ba ni? Kapalin na more last na siguro ni. Dili, napay duha. So the last two. Compensation. So compensation, it is the extinguishment of the concurrent amount of debt of two persons who in their own right are debtors and creditors of each other. So it involves simultaneous balancing of two obligations in order to extinguish them to the extent in which the amount of one is covered by that of the other. Simply stated, sa compensation, si A na iutang kay B and si B na iutang kay A. So if it involves the same amount, quits na. Okay, wala na iutang si A kay B, wala na po iutang si B kay A. Kay pareha man silang utangan sa matag usa. So it has been compensated. Okay? So example, A owes B 1,000, B owes A the amount of 700. In this case, dili parehang amount. So both debts are joint payable today. Here, the compensation takes place partially. That is to the concurrent amount of 700. So in this case, kay mas dako mag-utang si A kay B, niya si B na utang kay A pero 700 lang. Ang may tabuan is mabalance out siya. So after the compensation, siya na lang ang naiutang, si A na lang. 300 na lang po because na-balance out naman siya. So you just read those example. So kinds of obligation, compensation rather. If both debt involves the same amount, then that's total. 10,000, 10,000 compensation, then wala na. For the second one, partial, parehaan ng example na to, 1,000 ang isa, 700 ang isa, that will just be partial. So by its cause or origin. Legal, when it takes place by operation of law, even without the knowledge of the parties. Voluntary, if it's within their agreement. Judicial, if it happens as a result of litigation in court. And facultative, when it can be set up only by only one of the parties. So basically, pag legal, the compensation is legal if it is written in the law. So naibalaod niya nagaingon niya, okay, kay naman kay utang sa iyaha niya, ikaw na utang sa iyaha, and naman sa atong balaod niya, something like that. So the origin or the cause is just legal. But compensation will just be the same. Quits lang gahapon. Depende sa amount. Voluntary, pag agreement of parties, sige bay, naman kayo utang sa kuha, naman pugoy utang sa imuha, quits na lang nato. So judicial, if, for example, si A na utang kay B, si B na utang kay A. Pero gusto jud si A nga magpabayad. Siya nga, bayari sa ako karon, sunod na ako na bayaran imong utang. So di siya masugot nga magpa-compensate. So, gusto niya nga mabayaran siya cash karon, kay kailangan niya kwarta. Niya, bayaran na lang niya si B sunod pag makakwarta na pud siya usab. There are instances na ganun. So kasi nga sobrang labo, sobrang complicated, nag-abot sila sa korte. So it will still result in a compensation if ever, but the source is judicial. Kinaagi man siya court. Facultative, if isa lang ka-person sa party ang pwede makabuot na magpa-compensate. So requisites of a legal compensation, the parties are principal debtors and principal debtors of each other. Tapos dapat principal creditors sila and principal debtors of each other. Dapat walay third party. Si A naiutang kay B, si B naiutang kay A. So both of them are debtors, principal debtors and creditors with one another. So in this example, pwede, compensation can take place because si Batman man ang naiutang kay Superman, Superman po na utang kay Batman. Okay? So second example, both debts consist in the amount of the sum money consumable the same kind. So Batman owes 1,000 pesos cash. Superman owes a cell phone. Though the amount is the same, but ang isa is cash, ang isa is cell phone, the compensation could not take place. Okay? Sir, what if kanang musugot na lang sila nga, ang isa sa cash, what if musugot na lang sila nga equates na lang ng utang, even if cash ng isa, cellphone ng isa? Pwede naman. But ang pangalan ana is not compensation, but rather novation, which will be discussed after this one. Okay? So just read other examples there. And again, I encourage you to ask questions. So, two debts are due and demandable. A owes B today. B owes to be paid in the following day, dapat na in the following day. So, will there be compensation here? The answer is no. Ano naman? Ang isa ka utang manggod karon siya demandable. Karon ay ihang deadline kumbaga. Ang isa ugma pa. So as of now, dili pa pwede, pero ugma pwede na kay both utang will be demandable already tomorrow. The two debts are liquidated. So A owes B 1,000. B owes A the share of the latter in the business, the amount of which is still to be ascertained. So si A na utang kay B nga cash. Si B na utang kay A, pero dili cash. Ang utang ni B kay A is the share of the business. Na business si B owes A. Na share si B sa business. Kay manirado na siguro, pamaligyang properties. So basically, si B na siya ay makuha sa business. So question, pwede ba na siya i-compensate? The answer is no. If the part of the debt of B has been liquidated and the amount can be determined, then compensation can take place. No if the amount is not yet ascertained. So kung wala pa ta kabalo, kung pila dun ang amount, then compensation cannot take place. However, if there is still no liquidation, compensation cannot occur. So kung dili pa man liquidate, wala pa ay amount kung pila, then there can be no compensation at all. No retention or controversy commenced by third person. So A owes B, B owes A, B also owes C. Okay? C causes the garnishment of the credit of B against A and notifies A not to pay 10,000 as C has better right the said amount. So what happened here is that si C niadto kay A owes B 10,000. B owes A 10,000. B also owes C 10,000. Niadto si B kay mali. Niadto si C kay A. So niadto si C kay A. So adaan siya dito nga. Bay, di ba naman kay utang kay B nga 10,000? Tanda po si A. Oh, nakoy utang sa iya 10,000. Naapoy utang si ano ba? Naapoy utang si B sa kuha nga 10,000. Ayaw na lang siya bayari. Sa ako na lang bayari. Pwede ba na? The answer is no. Why? Because C is a third person sa utang ni A and B to each other. Okay? A may not owe C, but the latter claims that has better rights over B because B also owes him 10,000. Okay? In this case, compensation cannot take place between A and B in view of the controversy of C, third person. So, dili pwedeng magpa-compensate. So, what will happen here is that what should happen here if I were to decide is i-compensate sa ni B and A ang ilahang mga utang with each other. After that one, mubayad na po si B kay C of 10,000 pesos. Dili pwede mo adto si C kay A tapos maningil siya nga. Ako na lang bayari. Dili pwede. Okay? Pwede, good. Actually, pwede. But in the case of compensation, dili siya, compensation should not take place. And lastly, we have novation. So, kanilang timanan nyo guys. If na gani mausab sa agreement, for example, ang agreement is to deliver a cellphone. Okay, cellphone. Tapos, kaya wala may cellphone, wala may smartphone, rather, wala may smartphone, sagot na ko, kasi kanyang keypad na lang. So that is novation already. Kay, ang original, which was a cellphone, has been extinguished and gipulihan sa bago. So novation is the total or the partial extinction of an obligation through the creation of a new one, which substitutes it. So the original obligation is extinguished and a new one will be created instead of fulfilling the new one. So giusab lang siya, giusab ang object. Simply stated, with any of the three essential requisites, so if giusab ang object, instead niya si A ang mobayad kay B, kaya gi-appoint si C ng mobayad kay A, so the obligor. Instead niya si B ang bayaran ni A, kay si C na noon ang bayaran ni A, So, if nagani isa sa tuluan na ang usabon, okay, changing the original obligation and naigi-usab, so that is novation. Basta na yung mausaban ng tulo, either object, prestation, debtor, or creditor, then that's novation. So, kinds of novation, we have legal, that which take place by operation of law, if it is nakasulat dito sa balaod. Conventional, if it is within the agreement of the parties, isabutan nilang duha. According to how it is constituted, it is expressed when it is done in orally or in writing. Implied when wala siya gistorya, wala po siya gisulat, but based on the succeeding actions of the parties, it can be implied ng ilang giusab. According to the extent, it may be total or partial. So instead niya 10,000 pesos, kagihim mo na lang 5,000 niya cash, 5,000 worth of cellphone. Pwede niya na. According to the subject, if it involves a delivery of the object, then giusab ang object. If it is personal, then giusab ang personal obligation, ang performance, giusab. Of course, it may also be mixed. So requisites of a novation. So there is a previous valid obligation. Of course, again, novation is simply the changing. Mag-usab lang. Either the object ang giusab, ang debtor or ang creditor, giusab. So capacity and intention of the parties to modify or extinguish the obligation. So the parties have the capacity or the authority to modify the modification, extinguishment of the obligation, and the creation of the new valid obligation. So there is an existing obligation. The parties gusto nila bag-ohon and ilang giusab, either giusab nilang object, nag-appoint sila another debtor or another creditor. Tapos, by changing either one of the essential requisites, it gave rise to a new obligation, a valid obligation. So whenever a determinate object is lost through a fortuitous event without fault in the debtor, the novation actually takes place when parties simply agree on another obligation. So, if, di ba, naibalan nato ganina nga, pag ang specific object is mawala without fault of the debtor, the general effect is what? The general effect is the obligation will be extinguished, meaning there is no obligation to be fulfilled at all. So kung kailangan mo hatod o specific na baka, since nabanggaan man ang baka, namatay, pwede na maghatod o specific na baka. Pero, kung niingon ang parties nga, sige ka nang, ayaw na lang ng baka, kanang bayarin na lang ko. So, katong obligation of delivering a cow has been extinguished already and ilahang gipulihan og bag-o. So, that is novation. Okay? Tapos pa ba ni? May na lang. So, kinds of personal novation, substitution when there is a change of debtor in the obligation, subrogation if si creditor ang gilisan. So, substitution pag debtor, subrogation pag creditor. Kinds of substitutions, again, debtor. This happens when a third person assumes the debt without or against the will of the original debtor, provided, however, that it is with the consent of the creditor. So what happens here is that gipulihan ang debtor. So, lahi na ang mobayad. Happy no? Happy. Lahi na ang mobayad in behalf of the original debtor. Provided that na-consent. Isugot si creditor. Okay. Delegation is a kind of substitution wherein a third person is endorsed by the debtor subject to the. This time, katong dire magod sa exformation is wala kabalo si debtor na dili na siya mobayad or dili siya gusto nga pulihan siya kay gusto niya siya ang mobayad. Di wow. Okay. Kung yan na, that's exformation. Pero kung si debtor mismo ang nag-appoint, nag-endorse, tapos nisugot po sa creditor, it's delegation. Okay. So, kinds of subrogation, conventional, if it takes place by the express agreement of the original parties. So, okay, ayaw na lang sa ako ibayad, sa laing tao na lang na ibayad, sugot ra po si debtor, then that's conventional. Because it has been agreed by the parties. And if it took place by operation of law, that's legal. So articles covering novation will be Article 1291 and 1304. So application, ayun. So just send this one sa kuha by next week. Next week, Thursday or Friday. You can do it Friday. So it has been a lengthy discussion, guys. I hope namoy natunan. Namoy natunan, please comment sa baba kung unsa ang natunan ninyo. I will be also checking kinsa ang nag-comment because that will let me know kinsa ang nagtanaw sa video. If you have questions or mga wala na klaro na discuss, also ask in the question or in the messenger. So I guess that's it. Pansit. Medyo late na po. Thank you so much for listening and God bless.